Hello and welcome back to this downful idealistic crusade. This video is going over a lovely care package box I got again from the UK. This from the owner and creator of the new home video forums, which is another outlet for us disc nerds and cinephiles to chat online about new and upcoming releases and all kinds of cinema history, of course. Again, it's the home video forums. It's a newer forum, so it's a small membership for now. But if you're curious about possibly joining another video forum or video release forum, it's a lovely site. And of course, I could never begin to even try and put on my own site. So doing it on your own, I think, is a nice, definitely a challenge. So my hat's off to him, and again, it was just a wonderful thing to get in the mail, and always nice to get one of these boxes with, obviously a UK shipping label on it. So to start with, some of these were things that he said he would send my way because they were UK exclusives, because with this first one, for some idiotic reason, they never think that there are literary Bond fans here in the USA in terms of Ian Fleming publications. So the recent publishing of Kim Sherwood's first book in a trilogy entitled Double or Nothing is still in the UK as an exclusive, especially in this hardcover edition. It's supposed to come out here in the US in a couple months, and I think you can now get a paperback version, but I think it's actually an import of the British version because, again, apparently the US version has gotten delayed. I don't know why they do that. It happens quite frequently in terms of literary Bond releases, that either we don't get the fancy edition, like the Horowitz books. They had special editions in the UK that had unpublished Fleming material. We didn't get that. We usually don't get as nice of a jacket design either. Sometimes I prefer the US ones. It's a bit of a trade-off. But this is a case where you have to wait, or you have to import the book, or find that random paperback. So I was very thrilled to get this. I've been wanting to read it because, of course, this is Sherwood's first Bond novel, and it is dealing outside of the character. So it's set in the world of James Bond, but with other characters in the 00 section, which is really a first for any sort of official James Bond material, especially signed off by Ian Fleming Publications. And again, it's the first part of a trilogy, and it's quite a hefty tome. So I'm very curious to read this and see where it goes. There's been a lot of praise for it so far, a lot of positive reviews. So again, it'll be nice to check this out and see what sort of new fresh blood she might have been able to inject into the series in terms of the literary realm, because there have been a number of books in the past 10 to 15 years, but they seem to have great spurts of energy, but they sort of peter out over the course of the book. So I'm still kind of mixed on a lot of the more modern ones. I don't really think there's been a true solid story throughout in terms of energy. Actually, I'd go back to Raymond Benson's run. And that, again, I do enjoy the books that have come since, but it's been a long while, I think, since one of the official James Bond continuation novels has really grabbed me and held me enraptured throughout in terms of being a great adventure story. So I'm very curious to see where this goes, and I'm so happy I have the nice hardcover edition, again, because for some idiotic reason they didn't think that there are James Bond fans in the U.S., so I don't know why they do that, but there are literary Bond fans here. I'm just look at the videos on my channel. This next one was really a surprise. He sent me the really nice UK special edition of the Ron Howard Beatles documentary, 8 Days a Week. This is in the lovely hard case type box that you get in like a lot of Indicator releases, for example. It's a special commemorative edition with nice booklet and looks like a fold out. It's a nice fold out digipack, which is actually very sturdy. It's actually one of the more sturdy digipacks I've seen in a long time. So you have the custom artwork. The documentary is on disc 1 with some bonus features, and then disc 2 is an entire supplemental features disc, which I think says it runs at least 100 minutes or more. So it's a pretty substantial release in terms of getting a lot more than just the documentary. And then the reverse is a really nice live shot there. The booklet is actually pretty substantial. It's got a lot of nice photos with some good liner notes, and it runs about, it seems, 30 some odd pages. They're not numbered, but That seems to be about 20 to 30 pages. And of course, you get the credits too. But it's on a nicer sort of glossy photo stock paper, so that makes the images really come across very nicely. So this is a really nice package with a nice premium deluxe feel. I don't think we got anything this fancy in terms of this being released here in the U.S. I saw this documentary back when it came out, but I'm actually looking forward to revisiting it, and especially in this nice package with all the bonuses. Again, a really nice release, much nicer than I ever imagined it was, actually. So again, just a wonderful surprise in here. And then this was the main draw. I was going to order this day one, and he very kindly said that he would actually send me one. So this is one of my most anticipated releases, not just this year, but perhaps ever, of one of the greatest films ever made, from a new 4K negative scan with brand new extras and a deluxe package. And of course is the BFI release of the masterpiece Get Carter, directed by Mike Hodges and starring Michael Caine in one of his most iconic performances. It is one of the great masterpieces of the... I've always had this theory: if 1939 is the golden age of Hollywood, the golden year of Hollywood, I think 1971 is the strongest contender for the silver year, because so many great films and masterpieces happened to be released in 1971, of which one was most certainly Get Carter. Now, this is definitely the most deluxe package the film has ever received. It's not had a very good history on home video, really, prior to the DVD release, which did give us a nice commentary and an isolated score. That gets replicated here, but there is a whole wealth of extras in addition to the new transfer, which does, I already know from other reviews and things, it does improve over the already pretty impressive Warner Brothers Blu-ray, but that had some very light teal color infusion and things like that creeping in. And of course, the main pressings here in the US had the incorrect American dub soundtrack, particularly in the opening, so that had to be recalled and fixed. And I remember having to mail my disc back to Warner Brothers to get a corrected copy. But thankfully, that's all now a thing of the past with this new release, which again is a very deluxe package. So here it is, all nicely opened. We have the hard case deluxe release, again, much like an Indicator special edition. The J card is removable, so of course then we have the lovely art all on a black background. There's the spine, and then the rear is blank. The J card tells you all about the special features, again, which is quite substantial because this is a 2-disc affair. My only qualm with this is, of course, this is the Blu-ray edition. The 4K edition is also available in the same sort of limited edition, but I will have to eventually upgrade very soon, hopefully, and get the 4K edition as well. But, it's understandable, but one would wish that when companies would make limited editions, that they would provide both format versions, so you didn't have to buy 2 copies. For those of us who haven't, fully upgraded yet, I know Arrow does that all the time, but this is definitely one of those where I will be also buying the 4K release. Again, this is a limited edition, so I guess once it sells out, it will go down to this sort of standard case variety. I guess it will still have both discs, but you'll lose the nice outer slip box and fancy printed materials. So very simplistic but striking disc label. Don't even need the title because, of course, you know exactly what this film is. Inside are also included some lovely postcards of some of the most famous quotes from the film. This one's probably my most used one. I'd almost forgotten what your eyes look like. Pissholes in the snow. Of course, we have to have the pint of bitter in a thin glass. And they're all nicely printed on the back, so you could actually use these as postcards. Again, very nicely done, well printed, and I guess just really nice quality, even if, you're obviously never going to actually mail these to anyone. We also get a lovely printed poster of the new anniversary restoration artwork. It did get a very limited UK theatrical re-release, and once again, because apparently we're not allowed to have great culture here in the U.S., we did not get the same here in the U.S. That's another reason why this film is so rightly revered in the UK as a classic masterpiece, and here in the US, it's only known usually within genre circles or Michael Caine fans or fans of British crime thrillers, or definitely it's not really well known outside of the cinephile realm. And if you mention the title, if anybody mentions the Ungodly Stallone remake, you want to pretend they don't exist and pretend it doesn't exist, because that's what we do. The reverse has the original UK quad art. The printing is really lovely, and so even if you're not into replica posters and you're not into swag of a limited release, this is a really nicely done poster. Then the booklet, which clocks in at a little over 70 pages, is really well done. It's bigger, so that means they can cram in more text and stills. Honestly, it rivals indicator quality. That's how good this is, and that seems to be the sort of style they were going for. The text is really nice. There are, of course, multiple essays. Then here's actually a selection from Michael Caine's autobiography about the film in particular. So it's a mixture of vintage pieces, actual new articles and bits of criticism. There's an entire piece on the greatness of Mike Hodges, who is criminally underrated. And then there's even a piece on Roy Budd's score. So again, this is very much, and also the fact that it has interview pieces as well. It's definitely, I praise Indicator for their amazing booklets, and this is BFI shooting for that. I mean, this is extremely well done, and it's one of those where the booklet could and should not really be called a booklet. It is a full-on book. It could be published as a standalone, and you could go and pick this up and say a Barnes and Noble, and it would look fine on the shelf, like a nice slim arty volume on one of the cinema's great masterpieces. So again, very, very exceptionally well done. And I think this is one of those limited editions that you really have to go for, because it is well done, and you're going to regret it once this package is actually sold out. This being a Warner Brothers collaboration 4K restoration, that means there has not been a release announced here in the US as of lately. It would probably either be a Warner Archive Blu-ray, or more likely, I would bet Criterion has probably picked up the rights to this and will do a 4K release here in the US, since there hasn't been one announced. However, even though they might come up with some new extras, it's not going to have anywhere near as fancy and amazing packaging and interior extras as the BFI limited release. So this looks to be one of the best releases of the year. Again, I will be doing one of my usual full-scale reviews as soon as I get the time to scrub through this completely and compare to previous releases and go through the whole wealth of extras. I'm just so excited this exists. It's deserved this treatment for far, far too long. If you've never seen this film, now is the perfect time. It is one of the greatest of all British crime films, and it transcends even that. Some have labeled it a neo-noir, but any way you want to describe this picture, it is one of the great masterpieces. It is one of the greatest films ever made. It features one of Michael Caine's greatest performances, and it was the film that fully announced that Mike Hodges was a viable directing force. I still think he is one of the truly great underrated directors, and again, I'm sure it's probably going to be Criterion who releases this 4K restoration here in the US, but they will not be doing anything as elaborate or as wonderful as this BFI limited edition. And then last but not least, he sent me a number of Indicator postcards. Indicator does a lot of these little special printed materials. Even their little booklets and announcement cards are very displayable and nice collectible pieces, and these will only be through the Indicator website. Sometimes they even do posters and things. But with the postcards, you don't always get it in an order, so sometimes it's a sort of random type thing. So these are, as always with Indicator, anything they do is really well done. These are all advertising new and upcoming releases. So this is for their release of Pastor Hall. Then apparently they're also trying to do Carnal Knowledge. And these were all apparently done for the March 2022 sale. Now this one is one of the titles I'm really looking forward to getting eventually when my wallet can stretch for every single release I want. The Bud Bodeker film, The Bullfighter and the Lady, which they've done a beautiful special edition of. Also, their lovely deluxe limited edition release of The Swimmer from the new restoration. Then one of their December titles, which of course is a lovely limited edition of The Big Gun Down. So that's coming in December. And what a lot of people are looking forward to, but hasn't been announced yet in terms of the actual release date, which is of the John Badham 1979 version of Dracula, which of course would mean actually getting it in the original presentation with the theatrical colors and then the preferred director desaturated version, which honestly doesn't look as good. But anyway, that's one that they have teased and talked about, but it just hasn't been announced yet. So I just wanted to put together this little video as a way of saying thank you, and definitely check out home video forums if you're interested in another online forum to discuss films and video releases. I will put the link in the description below. But it was just wonderful getting this lovely care package of titles from the UK, and most especially, I had been so looking forward to the Kim Sherwood novel and especially the BFI Get Carter. So it was lovely to actually get this in the mail, and again, I am so excited to finally dig through this and really enjoy the deluxe release of a film I've adored for years and has never gotten the deluxe treatment it so royally deserves. So as always, I hope this has been somewhat fun and informative. Hopefully, if you're interested in some of these, you might check out maybe importing some of them. Again, Double or Nothing is supposed to get a US release pretty soon, at least in the next few months. So if you're okay with waiting, that's coming up. And then, of course, again, it's possible. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Criterion who does the 4K release of Get Carter, but as usual, there's no rhyme or reason seemingly to when Criterion announces something. So that's just my guess, since it's probably not going to be Warner Archive. It'll probably be Criterion, and I would guess probably somewhere within the next year, or sometime in 2023 maybe, they'll probably do it as a UHD release. But again, that's just my guess. But until next time, as always, I would like to say keep supporting boutique labels and studio labels by buying films on disc and to help keep physical media alive. And as always, thank you ever so much for watching.